Victor was literally looking behind the camera. He was like,
Yeah, because she wasn't crying. I mean, your
I
husband...
didn't know you were dead yet.
Dearest gentle reader, welcome back to the Bridgerton podcast. Now, I'm Lady Alison Hammond, your host for the event of the season. This is the podcast where I get to play lady-in-waiting, hobnobbing with the stars of Bridgerton and chin-wagging with the talented individuals who bring this magical show to the screen. Quick spoiler warning, we are going to be chatting about events and stories from the entire season of Bridgerton. So, if you haven't watched every episode of Season 4 of Bridgerton on Netflix, go and do that right now. But make sure you've got your hankies ready because you're definitely going to shed a tear or two. Now, my guest list today is more impressive than one of Lady Violet's balls. I'll be joined by showrunner Jess Brownell and executive producer Tom Verica, who will give all the details about taking the ton from script to screen. But first, Season 4's most heartbreaking story has to be the marriage of Francesca and John. Hannah Dodd and Victor Ali, who play the tragic couple, are here to talk about their quiet but loving romance, John's untimely death, and exactly how much sky is too much sky for a jigsaw puzzle. Hannah, so lovely to see you. And
Hey.
Victor,
you
first time at Bridgerton here at the podcast.
Yeah.
So lovely to see you.
So lovely to see you too.
How are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you.
It's so wonderful seeing you both together, actually, as actors, because, like, I was in this relationship. Your relationship last season, it's a fan favourite. Everyone absolutely loved it. That's why I was so invested in this couple so very much. But yeah, this season, things are no more. And it's very, very sad, actually. How does it feel for you as an actor? I mean, did you know it was coming? Did you read the books, Victor?
I didn't know. I didn't read the books before I auditioned for it. I actually found out when I was on the way to do the chemistry read with Hannah that my character dies. I was like, oh right, okay. But yeah, and then I sort of started to sort of read more of the material in the books and what happens.
But how do you both feel like your characters and in the relationship have evolved in Season 4?
They've evolved so much, which I think is what's almost even more devastating, is that they've really fought to get themselves to the point that they were in, and they were really comfortable with each other and they were communicating. And what I really love about their relationship, A, is just the deep respect in the relationship, and that it wasn't this like massive moment where they fell in love like a lot of the other couples. It was a little bit more grounded in reality maybe, and maybe an experience that like a lot more people have. But, you know, it wasn't that they got married and it was like, tick, done. They still had to work on their relationship throughout the marriage. They were never done. But I guess they are now.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
It's so well. Honestly, John is such a lovely man in everything. I mean, the difficulty with Fran having to, she can't conceive. And you're just so kind. John is so wonderful.
Yeah.
I know.
That speech in part 1.
I felt like I think I cried after one of the takes.
So beautiful. I cried in one of the takes. I wasn't meant to.
Yeah.
Like we all need that in our life, that love, unconditional love.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really has. It's just the best.
Yeah.
It's so weird being able to talk about it now. We've literally we've held this spoiler in for so long. So it's so weird to
I'd get in trouble by Hannah for saying it just like on a random day in public places. But now, it's and also like back to sort of them sort of evolving as a couple and as humans. We started our sort of relationship quite sort of quiet. It was a quiet sort of slow burn.
Quiet love.
And we weren't pressured into doing what everyone else is doing in society. I think we had our own sort of map of what we wanted to do. And I think that, you know, a lot of people, you know, and Francesca's mum was like, what's going on? Didn't really understand it. But we didn't allow the sort of pressure to sort of the outside world to sort of dictate what we should sort of, the pace we should go, which was, and then going to Scotland was quite nice because we got to... For me, was quite nice because I again, John, he likes to sort of take risks and break rules, and he wanted to go to Scotland and be away from the town and be away from the noise and the people, and so going to Scotland was, I think, his way of feeling like he was at home, properly at home. I don't think the town ever felt like home as much as it did for you, I think, but But yeah, it was nice to sort of have that time away and explore our sort of marriage even more and go further and until my cousin came along.
We do get a little glimpse into John's work life.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what did it for him?
Yeah.
Like it's under a lot of pressure, wasn't he?
Well,
Parliament,
I think
isn't it?
Fran blames herself for that. a little bit.
No, you're not to blame. I think it's...
Thank you.
No, honestly, you're
Get that
not.
on record.
See, he's just like John.
I've never... No,
Lovely.
no, you're absolutely not. I think John, working in Parliament, I think was just... It's so intense, like being an MP and working with other MPs, and there's debates and all this stuff that will just be... It's quite intense. And so coming home, that was like sort of the place he can sort of unwind and be with his love. And it's interesting because every single time I'd leave Parliament and go home, it was never sort of like I'm knackered, I just want to go to bed. He would also give, I mean, I'd like to think he gave Fran a lot of time and sort of never sort of shut you down.
He listened.
Yeah.
He did give her a lot of time.
Yeah.
He listened. He was lovely. Did you feel like a sense of responsibility because fans were really invested in the whole infertility storyline? Did you feel a bit of a pressure there to deliver that correctly?
Yeah, massively. I didn't want it to be just sort of swept away. It's something that a lot of women go through. A lot of women would have gone through in that era. A lot of women go through now. I didn't want it to be, belittled in any way, and to not sort of show the pain of what that can be like. I've had friends who have gone through it, and I can imagine it's something that isn't spoken about a lot even today. Obviously, we're a lot better, but I can imagine it being a really, really, like, so much pressure being put on a woman in that time, and a massive sense of failure for her as well, which is awful. And I never even like saying it because I want to take it away from her straight away. And something that she really blames herself in, and I think she feels like it's a duty as a wife. So I really, I wanted to make sure that we delivered that sort of well for people who are watching who might have experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
Episode 6, the last dance, ballroom.
Yeah.
Was that quite emotional when you were filming that for you two?
When we're under the moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is about me and Victor is like when things get a bit we get a bit silly.
Do you?
Like
Do you just laugh it through?
Even the worst scene was the scene where she finds.
Oh, it's awful, heartbreaking.
That was a funny day.
It was our best day.
Oh, it was so...
In what way was it funny?
I think as humans we just can't handle the awkwardness.
Yeah.
So we just get a bit hyper, like
She
doing
said that was her best
somersaults.
work. She's like, Victor, that is some
Stunning.
of the best death acting. I did nothing.
I kept going up to him being like, do you want to run? Like, don't worry about it.
Brilliant.
It was fun, but there was a lot of like, Anya, our director, was like, can we have like some respect silence on set? And then me and Victor came on, literally
I
forward
did a
rolls on,
roly
literally
polies
on
on
the
the bed.
bed.
I'm like, it doesn't. I don't want it to be sort
We
of like...
can't handle that
like,
energy.
let's actually have fun and film
So
it.
you literally switch it up, switch that energy up. I
You
love
have
that.
to. I mean, you don't want everyone to be depressed the whole
When they
time.
say action, that's when the work starts.
Yeah, it starts, and then when they take cut and we go back to being silly.
Yeah, because he wasn't really dead.
Oh,
He
well,
definitely wasn't
you
behind
never
that
know.
camera.
So I wasn't.
Dead behind the eyes.
Victor was literally looking behind the camera. He was like,
Yeah, because she wasn't crying. I mean,
I didn't know you were dead yet.
but you
Was
just,
you like, "Where's the
sort of
tears?"
set
Get
it-
an
you sort of
insight
set
into
it up.
this.
You set it up and like get the tears ducts open, and then you know. But it was good.
It's like the holiday.
We had
Could
the
you not
best
cry?
day,
That was
didn't
best
we?
time.
It's like the holiday. Could you not cry?
Yeah, yeah.
She didn't know he was dead yet. There's plenty of crying coming.
I know.
Now, all the other Bridgertons, they're quite sexual. Yeah, you know, they're quite actively sexual.
Your siblings?
However, Fran, John, they're taking things a lot slower, aren't they?
Do you want to answer this?
I can answer it. I think John is being very respectful of
Yes.
Fran. I think you actually say that, don't you? That you've
do.
been like you've been reading her, and you're not experimenting in any way because you're trying to be respectful of Fran. And Fran just doesn't have any information, and it's something that I think a lot of women in that era, like men were allowed to have experience, men were allowed to go off and do all sorts. Women were not, and unless they read about it in books or unless they were told by their female peers,
Their friends,
they had no information. So I don't know how. I genuinely really feel for her that she doesn't know, and she's a very methodical person.
She just wants
so
the
it's like,
information.
give me exactly what I'm meant to be doing and feeling, and then I will go do it.
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad saying to you, like, have you reached the pinnacle, and that
And,
was it.
and
no
that's the
context.
reason
that was quite, you go on this
We
sort of, like,
actually we discussed those scenes quite a lot, didn't we? Because we really didn't want it to seem like John was implying that like it was any fault of Fran's.
Yes. That's so good.
Yeah.
And also, pinnacle is very nuanced for different people.
Very nuanced
you know what I
for
mean?
different people, and something that a lot of women, struggle with as well.
experience,
So
yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
really, I think it's really refreshing to see two characters actually discussing
So
it,
good.
and it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just like magic
Yeah,
and
yeah.
pinnacles
Yeah.
everywhere.
I think that's what I loved about this sort of this version of a love relationship, a marriage in the show, because everyone sort of like gets the pinnacles and whatever, but like
Smashes it first.
yeah,
time.
yeah, first time. But I think it's nice to sort of show a different version of love and a different version of how two people sort of navigate the love
And
life.
how important communication is
100%.
with it, like
Yeah.
in every relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's so nice to actually see two people discussing their relationship as
It's
a whole.
healthy.
It's
It's
so
what we
healthy.
need.
They're a very healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I would say.
Very healthy.
John is very different with Michaela to how he is with Francesca. Why do you think that is?
She knows me very well,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying that Fran doesn't, but she knows every. I mean, I think
Shows
there was
your
a point-
context.
Yeah,
Shows
and she knows
everything.
everything. And so she'd say a joke that only her and I know, and it's like we have those moments, and she doesn't really care, and so I can sort of like do whatever and say whatever. And I think with Fran, I'm just sort of, this is a person I love and care about, and I want to protect her and not sort of do or say anything that could sort of, not that it would ruin the relationship, but I just want to be careful. And so I think that might piss Fran off, understandably. But I think it's just, different context, different relationship.
Victor, from doing this, have you learnt anything about your own life?
I have, yeah, I have. Should I tell you? Do you
What
wanna
is
know?
it? What have you learnt?
What have I learned? I've learned how to absolutely sort of communicate, but also not take things seriously.
Even death.
Yeah. Just the moment you start to get quite emotional about certain things that are just sort of fleeting, and you stop having fun. And I think just enjoying life and having the joy of that.
Look at that. Who would have thought his job would have brought so much knowledge? It's wonderful.
I might die.
By the end of the wake, you view Michaela completely differently. How did that come about?
I think grief can bond people. Well, it's also, I think she's seen Michaela in a really vulnerable place as well, which I don't think she recognises. I think she sees Michaela as this strong, independent woman. She gets to do and say what she wants. And Fran's like, she's so inhibited by so many rules and expectations and everything like that. So I think a lot of what she dislikes is actually things that she is maybe a bit jealous of, or she actually really admires in her, and it's just really confronting for her. So then when they go through this whole thing that, I do think it really bonds them, and they can sort of see themselves as just two humans in pain, first and foremost, and the way that they look out for each other. And yeah, I think it's a really nice sort of journey to go on, just to see how John can not be with them and still manage to bring them together, and his essence is
That's
still
so
there.
true.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to get married, though. She doesn't want to get married.
Yeah, she doesn't.
She's had the love of her life.
Yeah,
Tick.
Yeah.
Achieved.
Yeah.
it's done. Do you think you would have, John would have liked the wake? All that Scottish dancing?
Yeah, do you know, I would sort of be sat in the corner and watch it go on.
Nah, you
having
would have been up on
Negroni,
your
and
feet.
then be up on my feet. Yeah, a
Few whiskies in ya.
You would have been all over
You would have
it.
loved
yeah,
it.
100%.
There's a lovely moment where Benedict comforts you through music, the piano moment. What a sweet scene. How was it to be in that moment?
It's so gorgeous. I was so happy when we saw it, because me and Luke haven't got to work together that much.
Really?
Yeah. It's so interesting as
Yeah, it's
siblings.
crazy.
There's, like, sometimes we're like, we'll be in group scenes together, but
And
you
you
don't
don't
get
notice
to.
it.
No, I know, which is brilliant.
Your first time?
I must have had some
Proper
kind
like,
of scene.
properly.
I remember he escorts me into a ball once,
Yes.
and we milked that for all it was worth.
Yeah.
But it was really nice as well, because obviously Luke plays piano, so seeing him like so
nice.
comfortable there.
So is that really his hands?
Yeah.
Playing?
It's really frustrating when you're the
wow.
one who has to learn piano for the show,
were great,
and then you
though.
sit next to
She can play
Luke,
well.
who's like,
I love episode 7 when you finally get to explode, because she's so quiet normally. She keeps everything, even when you're grief, you're like, I'm fine. This is how I want to grieve.
Yeah.
But then you do explode
Yeah.
in 7. Was that nice to experiment with the character at that moment?
That scene was the scene that I was like most scared of and most
Why?
excited for. It's so beautiful. And I think it's such an important point for both Ruth and myself. And I think we were both quite nervous that day because there was a lot of dialogue. Obviously, you're doing quite a few takes and you want to make sure that you can get yourself to like quite an emotional point. And I didn't want to do a disservice to, because she's so reserved, I really wanted people to know that she is absolutely destroyed within. And I think, you know, when you've got a character who's really holding it together, there is the concern that people would be like, oh, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. And I really wanted to like have that like absolute breaking point. And especially with someone, because you know, with a mum, sometimes it can be like, that all they can say is, are you okay?
Yeah.
And that will, you'll cry. I think it's so important that it's her, and it's so important that it's something that it brings them together, but it also is one of the biggest differences in their situation is the fact that Violet has pieces of her husband and she didn't get to have that, and that choice is also, so she's grieving like multiple things.
Yeah.
And nobody actually fully knows what Francesca's feeling in that
So
moment.
interesting, because it was like a jealousy of your mom.
Yeah.
In that moment. It was so interesting.
Yeah. I think grief works in really, really different ways. And you go through the different stages of like denial, which I think there was definitely some points. I really like made sure I like wrote down all of the different stages of grief and made sure that each scene kind of like connected to one. And that one is just like the anger. Like she had to have somewhere to put it. And I think sometimes it is your mum's your safe zone. So like, she knows that whatever she throws at her, she's still going to love her.
Yeah.
But it was a really fun scene to do, but it's pretty heavy going. Yeah.
So what, do you have a little notebook that you put all your little like side notes and stuff?
I
love that.
I have a little character journal, but you shoot out of
I do as
order. So like I do like a
it's
little
the same.
cheat sheet for making sure that I know exactly what's happened up to that point
Love
in
that.
the episode and stuff.
Thorough.
Yeah.
She's good, isn't she?
You've got to when you're doing
I
a
do as
death
well.
storyline.
Do you as well?
I did as well.
Well, we
Do you
were
all
also
go off to like the
jumping-
little stationery shop? What are we going to buy
a
today?
little journal. You've got to make
Get
sure,
the
because
pens,
obviously, like,
Proud of you,
markers.
Victor.
we would shoot things where you were alive,
Alive,
and then
yeah. And
not
then it's
alive.
like, yeah.
Oh, so
And
you need
then-
to know where
we
you're
did a
at.
death scene, then we did another scene the following day when
Oh
I'm
my
alive. So
God.
it's like
Yeah.
tracking it.
Yeah.
So you need to work it out. Have you got a favourite scene between your relationship that will always stay there? Because obviously we're not going to see you very often now.
The thing is, I don't think people are going to like it, but that we did have a
The
lot of
death
fun
scene.
with the death
I would say that
scenes.
that's like one of the
Was that good
that's
fun?
an
They were
iconic scene.
really
There's loads of
fun.
videos that we have, and because it could have been like the day I died.
Yeah.
The character died, and it's like really solemn and really sort of sad, and just everyone's sort of like in tears. But
I wonder if it would have been different if it was truly your last day.
yeah.
I think the fact that you
Yeah.
was going to hang around and
Yeah.
still doing other scenes,
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
think that's why you probably didn't.
Your last day was sad.
Yeah, but then I turned up to the funeral.
Do you know this?
No.
Showed up to his own
No,
funeral.
you didn't.
Did they
What,
shot
just
the
for the
funeral
day?
just for the day? And I wore like a caftan, and I just sort of like was hiding behind like one of the sort of screens, and like Luke was saying the speech.
The speech.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
then,
and all
um,
we heard was this
And
one.
I was like, "You right, guys?"
He's like, oh, you couldn't do this without me, could you? And everybody
and
like
then
went,
it was like,
That is so
so
funny.
yeah, that was kind of the last day.
I think
maybe.
so. It was really
The
close
last-
to the
yeah,
end
yeah.
of
So
the
what, did you
season.
just tell all the producers, I'm going to go on
But they
set?
didn't say anything. I think I told like one person. You didn't even know.
No.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned it. He
brilliant.
was
Did
talking a
mention
lot
it.
about going to the funeral.
How was it seeing your own funeral, babe? Interesting.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
People mourning,
Yeah.
sad,
Enough tears.
enough tears.
She was
So,
good, wasn't she?
so I know that when I do die, I know what to expect.
Yeah. You've been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Yeah, it was quite sad, but it was nice to sort of see all the family and friends gathered. But yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. How do you feel about exploring widowhood in season 5?
You're gonna get some cats.
You get so many cats.
Yeah, you're going to be the cat lady.
Bless her. I don't really know. I'm really intrigued to see what the writers come up with. I really...
She's so young. I thought she was pregnant because she seemed convinced that she was.
I know. I think it was that holding on to hope, and that like she wasn't ready to confront the death.
Yeah.
So that was a way of sort of like something else to focus on and a positive, like shining light in it all. So I think she'd kind of convinced herself that.
And the
that
fact
was
that
what
they
was gonna
wanted an
happen.
examination, I was like, no, leave her alone.
How savage
Because
is
I believed
that?
that you was having a baby.
How savage is that?
Sorry.
It's like they knew.
I know. Awful. That scene was actually quite...
Was it quite hard?
It was quite emotional to film, actually, because obviously nothing's happening, but I was holding on to, like, Claudia and Mum laying down, and you can't help but just feel... It's awful that was ever... It's such an intrusion, especially for such an introverted character. It's so... It's horrible. It's horrible that she's grieving. She's also, like, begging for this fact to be true, and then it's the physical examination, which is just... It's awful. It's awful.
You got so
I'm
much.
glad it was savage, that I want it to be savage.
Yeah.
Are you quite impressed?
Yeah, I mean, she's holding it down. Like,
She's holding it
It's
down.
intense.
I'm
So
hoping
sorry.
season 5 she can have a little bit of a respite.
I'd want
a
her
bit
to
of fun.
A
have
smile.
fun. Yeah,
A smile would be nice.
A smile an episode might be too much.
Yes.
Ice cream cone.
It feels like I've not smiled
Yeah.
in
I don't
a
think
little
you have,
while. Yeah.
Maybe you're going to come back as a ghost.
Maybe he will come back as a ghost.
You never know.
He's not dead. We got the wrong man.
Well, yeah.
He did keep saying that when we were filming that death scene, he was like, I'm going to keep sitting up. Like, don't worry.
Yeah.
You can't kill me.
That was a hard day, but fun.
Thank you for looking after these precious characters. You've done such an amazing job. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And good luck.
Thank you.
And we're so sorry to see you go. We really are.
No, it's been fun. It's
Thank
been
you.
fun. Well, forgive me, but are you two friends now?
Of course we are.
Obviously.
I loved meeting Victor and Hannah. They're truly brilliant actors. And after all they've been through this series, I just wanted to give them both a massive cuddle. But if you want to truly understand the world of the Ton, you need to ask someone who sees everything. No, I'm not talking about Lady Whistledown, but two of the brilliant minds behind Bridgerton, showrunner Jess Brownell and executive producer Tom Verica.
I do not need an apology, Mrs. Bridgerton. I want gossip.
Tom Verica, Jess Brownell, I mean, this is the hottest ticket on the Ton, as far as I'm concerned. Tom, you have shaped the look of how Bridgerton is always portrayed. How did you want season 4 to look visually?
Well, we always approach each season trying to find something different and something new. And the script gave us some wonderful material this year with introducing the world of the staff. So I think diving into that world gave us a little bit of opportunity to sort of tell visually a little bit different world and contrast what we've always known as Bridgerton and the properness of the upper world, and then kind of the chaos that is the engine underneath the house.
So how have you kind of changed it this time round? I love the upstairs, downstairs, by the way. That is just beautiful.
Yeah. No, I think it's something we really loved about this season and approaching how we film it. And I think it's also great with the Sophie character as her being part of that downstairs world and how that parallels what's happening in her trajectory. But we just got loose with the camera. We went handheld a little bit sometimes, not too crazy. Jess doesn't love that.
Again, don't get too loose with
Not
the
too
camera,
crazy.
okay?
Do you not like
just
it, Jess?
we just wanted this sort of an unsteadiness about sometimes.
I think on this show, like nice, clean, beautiful shots work really well.
Yeah.
But once in a while, a little camera looseness is cool.
Just a little
Just
bit.
a
I think
little.
you
You
know,
don't want to feel like you're swimming underwater, you know? I'm like, this is not,
not that.
an indie film, okay?
No,
Tighten it
and
up.
we've seen those things, and that's not. We're very clear about not going full on.
Tom, you do a very good job. You do a great job.
Thanks,
Just the
Jess.
right amount of looseness and tightness.
Just loose. And we talk about these
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
and we check with each
Have you
other.
got to
so
rein
we're
him
good.
in a little bit,
Yeah,
Jess?
he's a party man, you know? He brings the party to Bridgerton, so got to watch that camera.
Okay, I'm going to bring the vibe right down. Let's talk about John's death and the
shoot.
funeral.
Well, there we go.
What a segue!
And scene.
Let's talk about it, because how do you approach something that is so emotional?
It was a tough one. We've never really had a death on the show, obviously.
I know.
Lord Featherington at the end of season 1, but it was off camera, and you know we didn't know him that well. So we talked a lot about really needing to honor that moment and live in that moment. And as you'll see with episode 7, while we still are interested in Benedict and Sophie's story, we do shift our focus a little bit to really hold space for the fact that a beloved character has departed.
I was so shocked.
I know.
I was so shocked. What was it like on set, Tom? Because I was talking to Victor and he said he was found it quite funny. It was quite light.
You know, it gets emotional. It can't help but get
Yeah.
to you because you feel like, you know, that is, you've invested so much in this relationship people love, and the actors do get attached to these characters, and they can't help but feel that. And so that sort of that permeates throughout everyone, and everyone gets a little bit sad, like, oh, is this Victor's last scene?
Yeah, he knows what to expect.
Knew from day one when we cast him that he was being
That there was
that he was going to die. So that helped. You know, we didn't have to have a difficult
Yeah.
conversation about sorry.
Tom, the cast absolutely adore you. You're like their coach, you're like their therapist, you're like their mentor. I mean, what sort of chats did you talk through with Yarin and Luke with regards to this massive, complicated love story that they were going to go through? How do you coach them through that?
It's important for me to really work with the actors. It's something I understand. It's working at the moments, exploring those moments. We did have the benefit, particularly with Luke and Yarin, as we do with each season, to have a couple weeks of rehearsal to kind of talk about the relationship. And we sit in rehearsals, Jess and I, and very few other people, and just we answer all the questions about what they have. We explore, we try things. A lot of it is physical. For me, it's getting them up on their feet, seeing how they interact with one another, seeing what works, and it's really getting them comfortable with one another.
Yeah.
So a lot of
they don't know each
history-
other, do they?
No,
They
they
don't know
don't.
each other.
No, and they're finding each other for the first time. And I remember we were rehearsing the meeting at the Masquerade Ball, the first meeting. And it's important for me because they were looking at each other and everything was fine and they saw each other's faces. But I sent a note to costume department and said, give me any masks that you have, temporary masks, because I wanted them to feel those masks on one another so that they had that barrier before they really take each other in and see each other. And I think it really helped in that rehearsal process because they were just so open and looking at one another. But when you put that mask on, it takes
completely
on another.
different.
Yeah, it takes on
The
another.
other thing you did I thought was really smart is we were rehearsing some of the My Cottage scenes where they're supposed to be, you know, flying the kite and being a little playful. And I remember you had them like go for a jog around the set
Yes, yeah.
before they came into the space to do the scene. So they were actually like out of breath from like giggling and jogging as they started the scene. It was really
And it
clever.
just helps takes because if they're thinking about anything, you quickly forget those things. So if it just helps shake things up a little bit, it helps them shake out any energy and drops their guard a little bit more. But you know, when we did the My Cottage stuff, it was early on in our filming, and there was a lot of real kind of falling for one another that they had. That oftentimes that if you sometimes have to play that at the end of filming, it's tough to sort of get that initial energy back. But they had that. They totally had that right off
So
the bat.
do you like work out the film schedule and you want certain scenes to be at the beginning?
Yeah, we try. We strive to. I'm very clear about what I can do, what I try to do when we're doing certain scenes. If they're intimacy scenes, we try to push those later. So there is a method to when we do these scenes. If we can do it, we try to control that.
So why do you do the intimate scenes later on? Just because they know each other better?
Well, I think it's natural. The scripts sort of are laid out that it does happen because there is a courtship that happens with each of our couples. But it is more comfortable with one another, and it is important for our actors, particularly when they get into them. Some actors are much easier and much freer, and then other ones are much more hesitant towards doing that.
You are talking to a professional, to be honest with you, because I have actually spoken to Jonathan Bailey and we have tried out some of the intimate
you
moments with a ball between us.
Oh,
That was
okay.
one of Lizzie's
I know what it's like.
props.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
It's great.
Deflated ball.
It just it
works.
helps, right? It
Yeah.
just had that barrier there. It gives.
But I do love the whole, I mean, we spoke about it in part one, about the whole female gaze and stuff like that. I mean, that's part of Shondaland's, you know, signature move, really. You know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah,
Give me some advice on the whole woman's gaze. What do I need to be doing with my boyfriend?
What advice?
Come on.
I basically just go along for the ride. No, I think it's just, you know, an interesting thing because I've been working with Shonda for many years and across a lot of different shows and have done a lot of intimacy scenes. I mean, Scandal, we did much more risque and really pushed the envelope with a lot of things there. But it's really about, it is very technical. It's about understanding a lot of those things. And I think it's, you know, early on, it's flipping what has been, you know, history through the male gaze. It's flipping that on its head. And it's saying, you know, and it's simply, I found myself in some of the earlier things that I directed is just turning it around, and it's that simple to say, oh, what if it was from this person's point of view? So, you know, from a directing standpoint, it's really just looking from the point of view of that character, because everything is born out of that character, and that's what I work.
Someone who's watching it, you really notice it, because like before, it's always from the male point of view. When you see it from the lady's point of view, it feels so much better as a woman.
I had a funny moment with our script coordinator, our script supervisor, Amy, first season, and it was, I think it was with Simon when he was licking the spoon, and it was this slow-mo. We're trying different things, and it happens now. It happens with Luke in the lake scene when he comes out of the lake, and I was very clear about because I know in this world I know what's needed. I said, go down, come up on his thing there. And I feel like someone looks at me, if you were to hear what I was saying.
I'm working here.
I'm working here. It is
You're in
purely
your
work.
office, babes.
Yeah.
You get it.
And then right afterwards, like, yeah, how about Arsenal? That Chelsea game was great, wasn't it?
Can I just say, Tom, you did a very good job. I love the lake scene.
Yeah.
Amazing. Jess, Violet and Lord Anderson was such a lovely couple. Why did you take them away from us?
Sorry.
We love that couple.
I'm
Why?
so
Why?
sorry. You know, I think it's like Violet's. It would be like her marrying the first guy right after her husband dies, the first guy she's dated, and however many years. You know,
But she got what she
years.
wanted. He got her
Yes.
his tea.
Yeah.
And then they're out there.
I feel like she has more of a journey to go on, you know? I think she's got to have like her era where I'm trying not to use the word, but she's got to have her era where, you know, she gets around a little more first before she like commits to
try
one
it out a
guy.
bit.
Yeah, and she's got some kids to see through, making sure that they get off on their way and debut before she's ready to, you know, really do what she wants to really do. So we'll get there.
No, we'll get there.
We got plenty of seasons, we hope.
And she had a great love with Edmund, and to sort of just suddenly pair her up with someone else.
True.
You know, you want to earn it if it is.
I think
where it
so.
goes
You got to
to.
flesh it out a bit.
Yeah, flesh it out a little bit.
Have you got a favourite song, Bridgerton song?
The one that I really fought for was Usher, DJ Got Us Falling in Love, because it's the meet cute, and I just thought like the sort of cheekiness of that song as they're meeting while not a DJ but a string quartet is playing.
So good.
It felt like, you know, the Regency equivalent of a very modern thing where you kind of like develop a crush on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love a little Usher?
I love a bit of Usher. What about you, Tom?
It's when Sophie gets out of the carriage for the first time at the Masquerade Ball. I just remember loving this song. It was a Coldplay, Living in Technicolor, and it had an energy of palpitation and excitement. And I wouldn't have guessed that. It's amazing how many songs that you put to classical music and
beautiful.
instruments that bring it out in a different way.
Do you know when the teenagers are dancing and they're all the youngsters?
Oh, yes.
That's
yeah.
one of my favourite
Oh,
songs.
that was another song.
I don't know what it
Oh,
is.
it's
yeah.
Charlie
That was-
XCX.
Yes.
I love
It's
it.
Apple, which
what's
is
the title song?
Apple.
Yeah. Oh, that's
It's
right. Yeah.
so
It
good.
is
That was
such
They're all
fantastic.
dancing.
a good
I was
song.
like,
Yeah.
that is one of my favourite
And
moments.
the song is about like the apple not falling too far from the tree and
Yeah.
stuff. So it just like thematically, lyrically, I cried
worked.
during that set piece.
So
I
good.
could watch
Good.
a spin-off show just about the teenagers
Yeah.
and
Yes.
their like kind of coming of
There
age.
you go. You heard it
finishing
here.
their
do
Spin-off
that.
show.
Did we just? Yeah.
Did you just
Yeah.
created
Create
something?
that.
Let's do it.
It would so work.
It would
That's
be
one of my
so
favourite
great.
moments, seeing their little
Yeah.
connections. It's so
And then
good.
all walking
Adorable.
down the stairs, and the boys trying to, you know.
Bridgerton Jr. Let's go.
Bridgerton Jr. Let's do it.
There we go.
It's so
Lil
good.
Bridgerton.
It's happening.
And then my last song I loved, I lose
Control.
control when they're making love. Oh my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
it's so good. When you're not next to me.
But it is a moment where it turns, because it's like some
Yeah.
like score that's just happening, and all of a sudden
Right.
the kiss happens and that song kicks in. That's
So
exactly right.
good. We have to talk about another love story. Mrs. Featherington and Varley. That is truly another love story. Their
Yeah.
scheming is just iconic.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Thank you. We really fell in love with that
Yeah,
couple
you did, yeah.
over the
We
last
wanted more of
couple
it, yeah.
seasons. Yeah, truly. I mean, I do think like two women over that many decades. Like they've shared secrets. They know everything about each other. They've done crime together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like for Lady Featherington to be able to say something sincere, which she has to at the end of the
so
season
great
in
and
order
so earned.
to like, win Varley back was, I just think I think it's one of the most moving.
It really, and I remember
It makes me
when we
cry.
filmed the breakup scene when she basically says, "Well, I'm
Yeah.
leaving," and I remember on the day Lorraine, she says, "This is this you got to give me a moment. This is the most dialogue I've ever learned in all 4 seasons." And because she had this speech about you don't value me.
Don't normally do this. You sure you don't want to cut it down? Go and get Jessie.
But she was fantastic, and she was. It really is in that moment of
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking to see them suddenly. Are they really going to do this? And neither
know.
one of them are backing down. You
No.
know, Lady Featherington's not.
Egos.
Yes, I know.
I think one
Bride.
of the most iconic moments of the season is actually when Lorraine carries out the giant dress box that Lady Featherington tries to get. She just bends over and carries the
And I
dress
remember
box
that
out.
because when we picked out that box, and Lorraine, she picked over the way she did it physically. It's one of those moments that you can't, you don't
big.
see it, but it happens. And the cameraman, everyone's like ready to call. So we stop. I'm like, no, and see her walking out, and then the editor, because usually they want to pinch the end of scenes, they cut out a little bit. I'm
loved
like,
it.
put that
Stay.
in. That stays all the way until she disappears out that door.
Lorraine and
Oh
Oh my
Polly.
gosh! And she's
I ain't letting this go.
oh,
Yeah.
it was so funny. It was
Iconic.
so funny.
We need to talk about Lady Whistledown. Have you got any theories amongst the cast or anything that has made you really laugh at all? Because I've got a theory.
Oh, I
You
wanna
have a
he-
theory.
I wanna
Let's hear your
theory. I got,
theory,
Wait,
yeah.
let me make sure I rest my face so that I don't give away.
you
if
don't
you're
give away
right.
anything.
Rest your face.
Okay.
Because I think Penelope was going through so many struggles. I think it's still Penelope.
Oh.
She's not moving. Because if it's still Penelope,
Yeah.
she can then start writing again. I think it's
Kind of
still
like she
her.
faked her own death.
Yes.
Yeah.
You like what I did there? Interesting.
comment.
What about you, Tom? Who do you think
I
it is?
think it's the Crabtrees.
The old couple.
It's the old couple. They're out of the
Crabtrees.
country. They're trying to infuse themselves.
But see, this
No,
is what is so fun is because, like, Penelope was Julia Quinn's Whistledown. And so we knew we couldn't really play with that reveal for too long because people could just Google it. But
Yeah.
now people really don't know. And we really
really-
get to
Yeah,
play
and
with
I
audience
don't know.
expectations.
And I know in the writers' room
What
they
a
probably
great
talked
twist,
around.
though.
Yeah.
You killed it with a twist. Well done.
It is a great. I'm looking forward to it as well.
We
And
can't
everyone
wait.
keeps saying they think I know. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's
Well,
Tom
the thing is,
Barker.
I know you're doing season 5 right now.
Yeah.
Is there any leads from season 4 we need to watch out for that are going to kind of go into season 5?
there always
Can you
is.
tell me anything?
We can't tell you, but they're always.
I can't really tell you. We pretty much finished the writer's room.
Mm-hmm.
We're nearly done with the scripts. I'm just working on 8, basically.
Season 5
so
done. You
And
heard it right.
have
It's
you-
all in her brain right here, right?
It's all
Amazing.
there.
Have you casted yet?
Oh,
So I might know
We
someone
haven't
who
started
is
shooting.
available.
Oh, please send me their information.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, I know someone.
Oh, okay.
Lovely woman.
Oh, cool.
Big,
We need a
black,
female lead.
beautiful.
Yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
perfect.
Yeah.
Listen, let me know if you want her digits. Because surely she'll be great.
Great,
Can we
love
talk
that.
about the wedding at the end? It was so lovely. It was so simple, the fact that it was in the courtyard.
Yeah.
I just absolutely loved it. All the family was there, rounding it off. But why mid-credits? Maybe I should need to
know?
ask Shonda this.
Yeah, this is a Shonda question.
will be a Shonda
like
question.
normally we just fade to black and then come right back, but Shonda felt in the edit that it was such a perfect ending. She was like, maybe we don't need the wedding, and then we're like, no, we gotta keep the wedding.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, we're gonna bury it, and it's gonna be a special nugget for people who stick around. So
Because there will be. I mean, we can probably
Yeah.
predict there will be people who turn it off, and then somebody inevitably is going to say, "Did you see the wedding?" And we're like,
Yeah.
what are you
Someone
talking
go,
about?
what
And we'll
wedding?
go back.
Yeah,
They didn't see
exactly.
it.
I'm going to get more watches. You know,
Set them
click
right.
on
They
again.
need to
and, you know.
chill and
Yeah.
watch till the end of the
I
credits.
mean, it'll be interesting to see how many people do stay and watch
Stick
that. And
around.
it teaches you to stay and watch for the.
Yeah,
Well, I think
always
the
do.
chatter will start about it.
Yes, it will.
But I know where Shonda was coming from because I do think that ending, the way like Luke and Yaron portray that final moment back
Yes,
under
it
the
is.
gazebo, like
It is poetic.
Amazing.
It's so poetic.
Yeah.
It feels like, wow, okay, we've really completed these arcs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to let the Cinderella character be in the beautiful wedding dress and
It
give
was
her that
amazing.
moment. So.
Oh, thank you for giving us such a wonderful season. We've loved everything about it. We really have. And we are so looking forward to season 5. What a jam-packed show. I've been busier than Cressida's dressmaker. Massive thanks to my wonderful guests, Hannah Dodd, Victor Ali, Jess Brownell and Tom Verica. Next time, I'm inviting the girlies round. Hannah Dodd and Claudia Jesse return to tell me all about playing sisters Francesca and Eloise and the best biscuits to serve at a funeral. And I'm reserving my deepest bow for the iconic duo of Queen Charlotte and Lady Danbury, aka Golda Rocheval and Adjua Ando. Fingers crossed they bring their little dogs as well. Until we meet again, this is Lady Alison Hammond wishing you, dearest gentle reader, a fond goodbye.